if you see the title, you know exactly what this is gonna be. This is gonna be a rant about how video games will most likely never be appreciated or never be, taken seriously or seen at the same extent of books, movies, or even music to majority of the population on this planet we live on. And so I am going to play, well, I'm going to show Journey. Really doesn't, the gameplay doesn't really matter. What matters is what I'm going to talk about. So I recently watched a video about a YouTuber named Broken Game, and he talked about this video that was titled "You Take Video Games Too Seriously, Damage Control." And what he talked about is people who are considered, I guess, casual gamers, or people who really don't play video games that much, when they get their ass kicked by someone who does play a lot of video games, they, usually say, oh, you take video games too seriously. And the thing about that is, that's the only time you would hear something like that, because you don't hear that saying for anything else, for no other hobby or anything. And it frustrates me, because like one of the things I don't like is closed-minded people. I mean, because they choose to be ignorant about something that they don't even know. Like, they just choose not to even care or whatever. And so, here's the thing. Okay, there's people who, do fantasy football, fantasy basketball. You never hear people say, oh, you take fantasy so seriously. Or if you're someone like Paula Deen, like, you don't hear people say, oh, Paula Deen, you take cooking so seriously. Or people who, play basketball or football for a hobby, you don't hear them say, oh, you take basketball or you take football so seriously. Or, like, someone who writes or reads, you don't hear anyone say, oh, you take reading and writing so seriously. It's only video games, and it points back to another thing I don't like, and that's double standards. It's the society we live in, and like one thing is okay, but something else isn't. So let's take the whole topic of, violence, because that's always interesting, right? Violent video games causes people to be violent, well, gamers to be violent. That's the whole cliche or whatever people like to bring up. And I would like to say, how is it okay for a movie to be so violent, but as soon as it's a video game, turn this off, or we should get a law to ban this, or just something in general, just because they don't understand what the medium is. Like, they don't understand anything about video games. But I guess since they apparently know everything about movies or books or songs, because to be honest, there's been a lot of violent, songs I've heard from people like Eminem, Tech9, Hobson, Lil Wayne, just different rappers, different bands too, Slipknot, Linkin Park, well, not Linkin Park, but Limp Bizkit, and then books, on the other hand, they can be freaking visually, like your imagination can visualize something graphic. And then like horror movies like Scream or Saw or any freaking action-packed movie with Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, like stuff like that. I mean, it just seems, oh, it's a movie. You know, it's better than video games. So yeah, it's perfectly natural. It's okay. So no one really cares about that. But soon as it's a video game, screw that. Screw that. Video games are pointless. You can't learn anything. Video games aren't art or whatever. They just say anything possible just to just say whatever, and it's frustrating. And that's sort of the reason why I am playing Journey, because I'm pretty sure people who know nothing about video games wouldn't know what this game is. And if you would ask them like what game they know, they would say probably Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto, I guess Mario, but it's usually the violent games they know, because that's what I guess kids like to play. And another thing to point out, okay, for the people who know what I'm talking about, well, I'm pretty sure that's all of y'all watching this, but we all know that every game has a rating, right? Correct? And we all know all movies have a rating, correct? With the whole, rated R and stuff like that. So here's the deal. Okay, movies, that are considered rated R, they're taken seriously, but still, parents or kids still get into those type of movies. There's even babies who freaking go to rated R movies. I don't know why, but yeah, because it was one time when I went to go see Jarhead, there was a baby in there, and then it was a guy who said, "You shut that fucking kid up." And then it was another time when I was watching Scream 4, and it was me, and then like a guy, I guess, or someone in like a couple of seats in front of me, and then it was a family with two little boys, like sitting behind me, and it's like, it's rated R. Like, why are you taking your, kid to a rated R movie? But the thing is, when video games have the ESRB rating, and so when, video games have rated M for mature, parents or kids still get those games and they play it. And the thing is, the difference between the whole movie issue and the video game issue is like, when kids are brought to rated R movies, it doesn't seem to be all that bad, or like no one tries to blame the movie for the kid being violent. But whenever it's the video game that, the kid plays like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or something, and then they quote unquote become violent, the parent or guardian or whatever, or just people in general, the society we live in, try to blame it on video games because that's the easy way out. That's always, like, ever since this whole violent video games thing has started, it's just like, that's the scapegoat. That's what everyone goes to. People who don't know anything about video games and choose not to know about video games. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And so when the whole art situation, like, oh, video games aren't art, it's just, blood sport and whatnot. There's freaking UFC. People watch that. People watch football, that's violent, especially with the whole incidents where the New Orleans Saints got in trouble because they were doing bounties or whatever about, trying to take people's heads off and stuff. And, they got in trouble for that, but I'm saying you can't pick and choose And then, because like that's generally how society works. You pick and choose. People pick and choose, and that shouldn't that shouldn't be the way. That just shouldn't be the way. And to point it out, religion with that whole situation and whatnot, how, oh, gay people, you're gonna go to hell and blah diddy blah and stuff like that. It's like people just, pick and choose certain things, and it's just, frustrating. And like either, do everything or just don't do anything at all. And so, jeez, I don't know, it's frustrating for me, and I'm pretty sure it's frustrating for some of y'all out there who, you play video games, and then it may be, some people out there who say, oh, you're a loser because you play video games, or, oh, you take video games too seriously. Maybe you should read a book or do something that you could actually do something constructive or whatever. And, the thing is, you can learn a lot from video games. And to be perfectly honest, with, video games having more, stories that are, freaking pulling on the brain streams, the brain cells and whatnot, a lot of them are tending to surpass movies and books, to be quite blunt, honestly, because that's the honest truth, really. Especially with The Last of Us that just came out. I mean, that story is gorgeous, but the thing is, this medium, video games, the whole medium, it doesn't matter, because majority of the world doesn't care, doesn't know anything about video games, so it's not going to get the same respect as movies, music, books, and stuff like that. And that's a shame. That's a shame how the world is, but that's the honest, cold, hard truth. And that's probably gonna be it's always gonna be the case. It's always gonna be the case, because there's always gonna be closed-minded people, and there's always gonna be people who don't give a damn about video games, who don't care about it, and think, poorly about it just because they listen to something the media tells them to think, like, oh, video games are horrible. Well, no, maybe if you, would take the time to realize what some are about. Because, like, I can promise you a lot of people who are outside don't know anything about Journey, or don't know anything about these, indie games in general. Because all video games aren't the same, just like music, books, and songs. They aren't all the same, but everyone classifies them as one whole thing. Like, oh, every game is like Call of Duty, or every game is like Battlefield, or every game is like Grand Theft Auto, or every game is just violent. We should just ban them all. It's pointless. It's pointless dibby dabby, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like so serious about that. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. And I know it's some people out there who, would like to learn, and for them, I educate them, I teach them the way. Like I say, hey, this is video games, and not all of them are crazy. Like Journey, for example, that I'm playing right now, it's not crazy. And yeah, there's another person who just joined, but don't really care about that person right now. But anyway, yeah, that's just what I want to talk about, what I want to rant about. Is like people just are never going to care about video games. Majority of the world, majority of this world is never gonna give a damn about video games. They don't care about it because it's pointless, it's meaningless, it's just a nonsensical, useless hobby they think it is. And to be quite frankly, it's frustrating, and it pisses me off that people think that. And you know, it wouldn't be good if like I freaking berate people who freaking read books and like think a certain way that oh, all people who read books are freaking hipsters or douchebags or freaking smart ass intelligent people who are freaking just all to themselves and whatnot. That wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be nice if I say everyone who wears blazers are freaking douchebags, or people who wear suits are stuck up. You can't just generalize everyone based on what they do. It's just like people who wear tattoos. Just because they wear a tattoo doesn't mean they smoke, doesn't mean they drink, doesn't mean they are like a rob you or freaking cut you with a knife or something. It's just, it's just video games and gamers have this this bad reputation, this infamous status that they have because of what media tell other people who are like not educated on the fact that not everyone is raging mad or anything like that. And I don't know, it's tiring, and it's frustrating. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say because I don't want to make this long, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are tired of people just talking about this situation. So yeah, I'm Dominic from PerfectGC, and yeah, and please remember that the world is a dangerous place. So be careful, be safe, and yeah, take care. Peace.